we have an exciting, unbelievable match of legendary epic proportions. Why don't you introduce the players for us?
All right, let's go ahead and throw today's match up there. This is gonna be Braddock against Mondragon. Oh my God, my head is exploding just thinking about the implications of this game. First thing to note before we jump right into that, take a look at the map order. The map order is gonna be a little bit different because we changed up who was gonna play when because of course me and Day9 want to cast Zerg games. So game 1 is gonna be on Andromeda, which I think is very interesting. And then we're going to be followed up by Tornado, Outsider, and then, if necessary, Destination and Fighting Spirit. So that's going to be the map pool. Same maps, different order. Let's go ahead and throw up Braddock's screen up there. I mean, what can you say about him? He's a Terran monster. He's got so many fans. He's a beast.
You know, it's so funny to me, because I've actually played with, well, how do you say? I say Braddock. You say Braddock, I guess. I actually think you're right, so I'm going to try to say Braddock as much as possible. But, you know, Braddock, I actually played Zerg vs. Zergs with him. I don't know too much about his Terran vs. Zerg. Yeah, on Icy Cup, I was just chatting with him, and it turned out the person I was playing against was Braddock, and he was playing Zerg vs. Zergs. And then here, when I look at his, he's actually pretty good at Zerg vs. Zerg. And if you look at his matchups here, his against Zerg play is far and away his best. Look at that beautiful 71% win rate against Zergs, who are A- level and higher. And if you look at his achievements, he just has a phenomenal list. I mean, in particular, the Razor TSL in 2008, when no one really knew who he was, and he was just demolishing strong players left and right. And then first in WCG Russia, which, as you know, has produced players like Asmodee, Android, Advocat. I mean, just incredible list of achievements.
Yeah, that's another side to this match that's so interesting is we've got the Russian player, and I believe he's the last remaining Russian player in Braddock. And, you know, Russia just has such a rich StarCraft scene, especially on the Terran side. So I know there's going to be like thousands of fans tuning in to cheer for Braddock. And then on the other hand, we have Mondragon, who I believe is the last remaining German player, and Germany having a very strong StarCraft scene as well. So there's going to be tons of fans coming in tuning for this. And then there's the people who have no national association. They just want to see good StarCraft. And I mean, it's just ridiculous. So when Braddock came out onto the scene in the last TSL, oh my God, I'd never heard of the guy before, and he was just tearing through people left and right. He's famous for his quiet interview style, which kind of brought a lot of fans onto it, and just a really stoic, well-rounded Terran player, and I just get the feeling he's a nice guy too. I really like him, but he's up against it in Mondragon. Let's go ahead and throw Mondragon's stats up there for the two people on the stream who don't know who Mondragon is.
That's true. It's very important that, you know, if you have some family members, moms, grandmas who are getting into StarCraft, they need to know who Mondragon is. Mondragon has been around since the dawn of time and has always been either the best or second best Zerg in the world. Or, let me try again, outside of Korea in the world. I mean, he has a huge list of accomplishments under his belt, winning, you know, the Euro Cyber Games, performing beautifully in all WCGs he's ever been in, and the ESL. And he has a really nice, well-rounded stats. There's no matchup that I would say that he's really horrible at. I'm a little concerned, though, because I feel like Mondragon might have a little bit of an issue battling the really solid modern Terran style, because Mondragon is known for very free-form, he's like a thinking player. He responds very well in the moment, but I'm curious how he's going to respond to the super, super, super well-timed robotic-type play that we've seen a lot of Terrans do as of late.
the Russian army style out of Braddock, yeah. The other thing to mention here is Braddock was seeded from last TSL, the Razor TSL, finishing third, so he's been seeded directly into the PokerStrategy.com TSL. Mondragon had to go through Shaman, which we casted, I believe that was 2 weeks ago, and so just the other side to this game is we haven't seen Braddock's TVZ. I mean, the stats look great, but we haven't seen it firsthand. We've seen Mondragon prove his ZVT when he took down Shaman. Let's go ahead, Dave. Let's go double or nothing. Let's throw down 5 more esports bucks.
I raise you 10 esports bucks. I'm willing to go broke or go home, man. Seriously, I want a full 15, so that way I can get my beautiful Mondragon sweatband from the esports shop.
And which chariot are you gonna ride to glory to get those $10?
You know, in my conversations with Brad OK, or more commonly known as Braddock, he was just such a friendly, pleasant guy who just loved learning the game and valued that so much. I'm going to put my money on Brad OK for this series.
Alright, well, that was my horse, but given that ladies first, I guess I will I will concede. I will step down. I'll take Mondragon, German superstar, to take out Braddock. Let's not delay it anymore. Let's see how this turns out. Let's fire up game 1.
And we are here with Game 1 of Braddock against TOT Mondragon in the round of 16 of the Team Liquid Star League, sponsored by PokerStrategy.com.
Okay, so here we go. We have...
Oh,
go ahead,
please,
Day.
Go right ahead. Oh, really? Is it for me? I greatly appreciate that. Because you know how much I love saying that Mondragon is the Zerg pieces in the top left. And we have our friendly neighborhood Braddock spawning as the Terran pieces in blue in the top right. Now, on this map, Andromeda, I love the fact that there's that mineral natural there. You get that little extra boost to your economy as Zerg, which really gives you a nice hold on a bunch of strategies in the mid-game. How do you like, as a Zerg player, playing on this map, Chill?
Well, the thing that I'm thinking back to is when we went through this similar discussion when Cole was playing Phoenix. And
yeah.
It's kind of interesting because I think Cole and Mondragon are the polar opposites of Zerg. We're probably not going to see Mondragon 2-hatch. I think he's going to fall back into that 3-hatch style. And what I like doing is opening standard 3-hatch with the evolution chamber to get carapace and making a lot of Zerglings through the mid game. And just whatever tech I decide to go to, I like having a lot of Zerglings to support it, because you're probably going to be up against 8, 9, 10, 12 barracks worth of Terran units being rammed down your throat. So you need a lot of lings to deal with that.
Yeah, and I mean, Mondragon is one of the first players I ever saw use a lot of Lurkerling Defiler. So he has years and years of experience with it. I mean, long before Savior really practiced the style a lot and standardized it. Mondragon was, teching to Defilers as his primary goal once he got the Hive. And, I think that's a hugely important factor to discuss, because Defiler Lurker link control is absolutely impossible without huge amounts of practice. In fact, for the longest time in Zerg vs. Terran, I just did Ultralisk rushes because I didn't want to have to learn how to control it. So I'm really excited to see how Mondragon will hopefully tech to the late game. We get to see some real long, dramatic back and forth fights.
So that's where In Control got it from, just skipping Defilers. It was you, Day 9. So something interesting here. I like
my protege In Control. Sorry.
I always like kind of referencing the new style and the old school, and these are definitely two old school players, and we can see it here. If we look back at the Cole versus Phoenix and Moro games, Cole would go overpool on Andromeda because 8 racks is so popular. Look at these guys; they don't care. So we're just going to see 11 racks and 12 hatch, and that's going to be that. We're just going to play standard, and I like that out of them. Of course, it's always nice to adapt your build to whatever map you're playing, but I don't think it's that big a deal that it really needs to be done on Andromeda, and I appreciate seeing these players just going, you know what, we're going to do what we always do. And even Mondragon playing kind of the old school style. Oh, he's Overlord on a siege, but it looks like it's going to be fine. Mondragon playing the old school style, getting Extractor at 15, as opposed to the new modern style where he should be getting it more around 12.
Yeah, nowadays you just get the Extractor up at like 5 because, Lord knows we need that gas for mutas in this matchup. And it's nice to just see, just getting 4 Zerglings, very standard. Most of the time, like 95% of the time, I prefer to send one of those Zerglings straight away to the opponent's base. Mondragon has an Overlord there, but look at that bottom side of the Overlord right overlooking Bradok's natural. Excuse me, Braddock's natural. There's that little sliver of no vision that he could sneak some Marines down. And we've seen Mondragon lose to a Marine push against Shaman. We saw Phoenix kill Cole with a Marine push early on. It's just a little bit of extra caution that I think can never be bad to send that one Zergling out there right away.
Right, we see the SCV in the main of Mondragon just running around the Rosie, now dying to the Zergling there. So Bradok is going to be playing blind, but I mean at this point he's pretty much fine. Putting up his second barracks pretty quickly. Academy, I'd like to see an eBay pretty quickly on Andromeda as well. I really like getting that +1 as Terran very quickly on this map. You're going to be making a lot of Marines. Might as well give them all extra damage on their guns. Mondragon got his layer up, getting his second gas. Everything looks pretty standard here. I'm going to be interested to see if he's going to be opening up Mutalisk, because Mondragon is one of the few Zergs who feels comfortable, as you said, in that freestyle position, opening up Lurkers.
Oh yeah, I personally much prefer Lurkers. I mean, I went through a phase, as every player does, where I'm just like, oh, Mutalisks, you know, and I like 2-hash on every single map, no matter what. And then I even stopped right-clicking because I just was like, oh, I could hold position, isn't that cool, you know? But I still like Lurkers a lot. I like the control they give. I like being very aggressive, just straight at the front door. I think this is a fantastic map to do it on. I got to, you know, share a little bit of my personal story as we see Mondragon go for Mutalisks instead. So, you know, I still just want to throw it out there as an option for players. In particular, on Andromeda, you get that extra hatchery. You can build a bunch of extra drones to really get your economy going, which leads you to way higher Zergling numbers than you're used to. And having big Zergling backup for your Lurkers is instrumental for mid-game success. So go Lurkers on this map, damn it.
We see Braddock looking very technically clean. His barracks always having one unit in. The second one's getting queued up just right when the units are about to come out. Mondragon looking a little less clean, and that's typical of the old school style. Kind of as you get old, you turn away from your mechanics and just lean on strategy. We see his drones are like a little bit idle. Looks like Bradok getting ready to push out. Mondragon getting a little nervous, throwing down 2 more creep colonies. One of them is sunken. Bradok going up to 3 barracks. He's got his engineering bay, researching +1. Everything looks gravy.
And I love, if you look at the front of Mondragon's base, he's building that second sunken colony right now. There were 3 creep colonies there, but he immediately canceled because this one little Zergling right in the middle of the map hasn't died yet. And notice how Mondragon has a bunch of Zerglings here positioned for the counterattack. There's this one Zergling here out to the left, which is going to be the, it's like the trigger for what you're going to do as Mondragon. And I really, really like the way that Mondragon responded in that way. He already has the expansion up there at the bottom left. Ooh, some fire bats in the center of the map with, you know, trying to kill off a few Zerglings, but Mondragon surprisingly retreats. I mean, in my eyes, that seems like 2 free fire bats, but Mondragon, I think he's being smart. He's just taking it to a long game, going to play it nice and safe.
Let's focus in on Braddock's turret placement here for a little bit. We can see they're deep into the mineral line at the natural. He doesn't want to get abused at the cliff. If they're right at the cliff, then those 11 mutas can come in and kill the turrets very quickly while they get few hits. Meanwhile, he's setting up this kind of wall of turrets above that to try to keep the mutas out of his main. That's the goal. Keep them around the perimeter. If they fly in, they're going to be able to do a lot of damage, but it's kind of a gamble if the Zerg player Mondragon is going to want to take that risk. Here come the mutas now. Refinery going up at the natural seems pretty quick, so he's leaning towards getting a pretty fast science facility in my eyes. And that mineral-only command center still not gone up. Still on 3 barracks with the starport coming now. Looks like Mondragon just grouping up, getting 11 mutas, and now here he goes. He's coming in, just going to take out these 2 turrets, and then probably move into the main base.
Yeah, I mean, like this. Look how muscular these Mutalisks are. They're not trying to be all finesseful and dart around like little ninjas, as 2-hatch Mutalisks would. But look at Mondragon just getting right in there, killing off the turrets, putting pressure on this backside. But I always like to distinguish between 3-hatch Mutalisks and 2-hatch Mutalisks. 2-hatch Mutas can be really aggro and dart in and out, but notice that these 3-hatch Mutalisks are being a little bit more careful. That's because Braddock already has the range upgrade done. That's a significant damper on any aggression you want to do. So for the most part, these Mutalisks aren't going to be suiciding in, aren't going to be trying to kill off stuff as fast as possible. Instead, they're just going to be more like control units, just keeping Braddock pinned a little longer until that big push comes.
Right, and the other thing about that is 2-hatch has to do some sort of damage. 3-hatch is kind of buying time, and we look back at Mondragon's base. He started the Hive, he's got Lurkers almost complete, he started Carapace. If these Mutalisks all die and just buy time, that's pretty much what Mondragon wants to accomplish. Of course, he's not going to just donate them to Brat, but not that big of a deal if they don't do damage. We can see he's got a lot of drones. Taking a look at his natural, a good saturation there, bottom left complete, he's getting gas there, so he's set up really well, and I mean, Braddock finished with, he's getting an add-on for both his factory and his starport. Wow, strange. So he's going to be getting tanks and science vessels. Science facility finished now. +1 is done, and he's beginning on +1 armor, adding a second engineering bay.
Yeah, I've been watching Mondragon's base a little bit. He finished the Lurker upgrade before he had any Hydralisks finished, so a little bit sloppy there. I mean, his Mutalisks are buying quite a bit of time, but I'm a little concerned because he did lose a bit too many, I feel. You know, those Mutalisks, with 2-hatch mutas, you just harass a lot with them, you know. But with 3-hatch Mutalisks, they can actually be very useful when that first push comes out. Running in there with, you know, 6 to 12 Lurkers, having those 12 mutas and a bunch of Zerglings, the Mutalisks do a ton of damage. In fact, it's always really nice to have your mutas fly in over those Lurkers, making the Lurkers more difficult to target. And then as the Terran units are running away from the Lurkers, the Mutalisks are firing the entire time. So it's just a really nice little combination to do damage that I don't think people consider quite enough given this modern aggro era.
Right, I'm getting a little nervous for Braddock just sitting in his main. He's got his first science vessel out, so that's probably going to be the trigger that sets him to push out. Taking a look at what Mondragon's doing with his Hive, starting the Adrenal upgrade, he's got his Defiler Mound finished, Greater Spire at 50%, so a lot of gas-heavy units here. So he's really mining the gas as quickly as he can out of that third base. Looking to just set up a contain, probably. I mean, Braddock, excuse me, is gonna have to push out before the Defilers get there. I don't think that's gonna be an issue for him, but just something to keep in mind.
And I would just like to state that for the record, we see a Greater Spire going down in the main of Mondragon. Now, before this cast came, Chill and I were having a friendly little chat, and Chill asserted that Guardians were a horrible unit. And we're going to see them today, and I guarantee these are going to be game-changing Guardians, man. This is beyond esports bucks, man. This is like about being a good human being, man. Guardians are such an awesome unit. I can't wait for Mondragon to just put their head on. Oh, look at the Guardians morphing at the top. Seriously, Mondragon's Zerg puts hair on the chest of Zerg users around the world.
This is going to be a hard situation for Braddock as he's pushing out. You know, he's trying to get there before the Defiler comes. Defiler out, Consume almost done, so Braddock is really going to be pincered here as this Defiler is going to drive in, swarm, drive Braddock into his natural, and then these Guardians are just going to fly into the natural too. That's really going to be difficult for him as he's got a dropship coming out actually, so he's going to need a Wraith. Looks like Mondragon, Radiate going off on the Defiler. Very nice.
Oh, look at this
driving back.
Push.
Gonna lose those tanks. No, the tanks on siege very quickly. That's very characteristic of Brad. His tanks always on siege somehow 50% quicker than any other human, and he does very well not to lose much there. Loading in the dropship. Looks like he's gonna take a tour around to the south as these Guardians are now streaming into the natural, and we can see how terrible Guardians truly are.
Now see, like, even though this is great that the Guardians are at the back, I prefer when Guardians are at the front with the push, because look at how difficult it is for Mondragon to push forward too quickly, even when he does have a Defiler at the front. When Guardians are at the front with the push, you can advance unbelievably rapidly, and you can pick off Marines from a long range under cover of the Swarms and the Lurkers, and then you can even pick off tanks as well. Not that this is bad at all. I mean, look at the natural.
Looks like the dropship not going to bottom left. It's actually going into the main, and the Scourge are following that. Looks like he got trapped. I would have liked to see that go to bottom left instead.
Look at that.
Dropship gonna get picked off.
Yeah, wow. I was busy being right about Guardians while that dropship action was happening. I'm glad you brought it up, though. We see that, look at this, all this beautiful Zergling action. This push is getting pretty far into the front of Mondragon. It looks like he's going to push it back. 5 hatches in his main, just having Zerglings pouring out, pushing this push back. It looks like those Guardians are still alive and well, and now that they've eaten through the expansion, they're now going for some of those supply depots. This is a pretty difficult spot to be in as Braddock.
Yeah, I'm surprised Braddock didn't get a Wraith out pretty quickly. His Wraith was a little bit slow, and these Guardians, I mean, 10 kills on the last remaining Guardian. They've done their damage. Let's get an update on supply. Braddock at 111, Mondragon at 96, but Mondragon's economy vastly superior to Braddock's. Braddock now moving on to the bottom left. There's a Defiler there, some Lurkers, a Nidus, so he's probably not going to get that far. And I'm a little worried about this. Oh, okay, looks like he realizes it. Not going to move in. Mondragon pushing into the center with a Defiler and a lot of Lurkers. Defiler getting irradiated over and over so quickly. But looks like Mondragon doesn't even care. He's just going to keep pushing forward. Another swarm going up. Braddock very quickly to run, and now Mondragon's going to turn away.
Yeah, nice job of Brad OK of holding that middle. I really think he could have been a little bit more aggressive and attacked with his units and forced that swarm to happen a little bit earlier. But, you know, still, same idea. Brad OK doing a beautiful job of holding center. Look at him scooping around the bottom side. Look at the bottom, building a barracks there to control the bottom right, which Mondragon is taking with his 2k minerals. And the upgrades are going really, really nicely for Mondragon. He's getting close to +1, +2. It looks like Brad OK is upgrading the +3 attack upgrade. He's already 2-1, but one of his engineering bays is not doing anything yet. Would like to see that thing upgrade, because that's going to be a big advantage if Brad OK can keep that upgrade lead for a long time in the mid-game.
And even though Braddock lost a lot of SCVs, he's doing very well the macro at 134 supply, and keeping his minerals really low before he got supply blocked here, proving me to be a liar. But he moves in, gets a swarm over the natural at the bottom left, and now swarms coming in from the flanking unit at the top left. Braddock very quick to run away from swarms, and also very quick to get those irradiates off. I'm really impressed. I can see he's sitting at about 320 APM right now, so playing really quickly, and we can see the result of playing on Andromeda, having that easy third base. He just has a lot of Marines, and Marines against Zerglings. I mean, Zerglings are more a support unit. Marines are more the backbone of your army, so it's going to be difficult. Mondragon's going to need to... I'm surprised he's not getting Plague yet. Looks like he has it, but he's just not casting it. So he really needs to get that Plague working on those balls of Marines. Another Irradiate going off at bottom left. This Irradiate is just tearing Mondragon apart. He's spending so much gas replacing these Defilers. And it looks like an army's moving towards Brad OK's main now.
Yeah, I mean, look at this beautiful counterattack going on by Mondragon. There's a lot of action happening at the top. A beautiful swarm goes down by Mondragon. He's pulling back. And if we move over here to the bottom left, Mondragon has completely secured that. And Mondragon continuing to push in up at Brad OK's natural expansion. The Defiler does die. But look at this, this ugly position that Brad OK's Marines are in. Those Lurkers advance pretty far forward. And Brad OK brilliantly moving his Marines to the left, going to cut off any future Defilers. And look at this, in the midst of this huge crisis, Mondragon pushing all the way out at the bottom left expansion. We see the tanks and everything finally getting repelled.
Right.
Brad OK expanding at the right. Look at that. Calm as can be.
I like Brad OK's bringing in his reinforcements here, cutting in units, because once this swarm gets moving in farther and farther, if you let the Defilers and reinforcements just keep going, there's going to be no end. So his army that got pincered outside is going to come in, cut off reinforcements, cut off Defilers. Very nice from Braddock.
Yeah, big army moving across here from Brad OK. Oh, look at him surrounding these Lurkers. Look at him just demolishing them.
Oh,
no need
nice.
to waste a Radiate on that. Lost a decent amount of Marines, but it was all worth it. I mean, just cutting back on those gas units. And Mondragon looks like he's not too comfortable with that extra mineral expansion at 3.5k minerals. I mean, that's pretty high.
Right, I'd like to see him throw down a few more hatcheries and just get those Zerglings pumping. We can see, looking at his hatcheries in his main, a lot of idle larvae there. Now, I mean, 3 eggs at each, that's not what you want to see. That leads to a pretty inefficient macro. Taking a look at bottom right, there's a barracks there and a factory going up when Mondragon is morphing that hatchery. Push coming out through the middle now.
Yeah, you know what? One thing I love so much, just go to the bottom for just a moment. Notice that the medic was made first, so that way it would have extra energy. So it's spending the entire time it's alive charging energy. That's just such an example of how focused Braddock is in this particular circumstance. That he's still in control of his mental state enough to just build those units in the right order. Because it's so easy once you hit, you know, this 18-minute mark to just spam. And look at the center right here, another big push coming forward. Still only one Defiler, tons of science vessels are radiating. Braddock, ooh, look at that plague on those Marine balls.
Oh, juicy.
And I mean, plenty of science vessels. I mean, these science vessels aren't really, you know, it's not that big a deal that they got plague. He's just going to be able to comfortably pull them back and then, you know, be able to deal with these push just fine. I mean, these pushes from Mondragon, even though they're threatening, it's one defiler at a time. And if we look at the bottom right hatchery, Mondragon researching Burrow, a nice little cute thing going on there. Braddock already has this expansion up. And look at this, under 100 minerals for Braddock. Beautiful job with dropships going at the bottom left right at that point. Oh man, I don't know if Mondragon's going to be able to handle this double pincher attack.
Right, and at the same time he's pushing into bottom left's natural. Braddock going right in, taking out the Nidus Canal, but losing a lot there actually. I'm surprised he lost so much to those Adrenalings running right up. Mondragon countering at the natural, Swarm going up, Lurkers running right in, those Vultures haven't dropped mines. Braddock not responding, he's bringing back his, just one group, but he's not bringing back he's bringing back the vessels, but not the rest of the army. Looks like there's a lot going on at bottom left. Lurkers come to clean that up, so that's done. Braddock forced to lift. It looks like the dropships didn't do what they needed to do. A lot of vessels coming back. Braddock's got a decent army, but Mondragon is just getting a huge advantage here, taking a lot of bases. He's got ultras coming out now, getting ultra armor, putting lurkers to stop drops. I think he's got control of this game now that he's driven into Brad's natural.
You know, it's so funny. 2 seconds ago, I was just like, oh my god, Brad, okay, under 100 minerals. Now he's at 1,700 minerals. And if you look, there's some Zerglings at the right, just demolishing that expansion. But at the bottom right, Brad, okay, is taking out the bottom right expansion, keeping a little bit of control over his side of the map. In the midst of that huge crisis push up at Braddock's natural, Braddock was still in control enough to just build more units at that bottom and continue to just play comfortably and calmly and normally. Unfortunately, Braddock has lost every single SCV at that right expansion. Look at this, 16 kills on those 3 Zerglings combined. This is just not going Brad Okay's way at all.
This is why I feel like Mondragon is not, you know, the mechanically cleanest of players. We can see his minerals spiking. He's not making enough hatcheries. His reaction time isn't the fastest, but his tactics and just spending focus where he needs to. You know, they say focus is the third resource in StarCraft, and I think he has the best income of focus. Apparently there's a dropship flying in, 2 D-Matrix dropships just flying through the Scourge. That ain't a thing, but there's like 24 Scourge just eating that alive. Looks like Braddock's last push is coming now. He's got like 12 science vessels or something ridiculous moving in, and a lot of his army is moving towards Mondragon's natural now.
Yeah, I would have liked to see a lot more scanning and darting forward with those science vessels to irradiate all the important things. You can see a queen from Mondragon passing by the 9 o'clock expansion, but look at all this beautiful irradiates. Braddock pushing forward. Oh, that plague hit every single vessel. That is the worst feeling that anyone has felt. Imagine your first crush dumping you and going for a guy you hate. Nowhere near as bad as getting all your vessels plagued at once in the Team Liquid Star League. Round of 16.
Oh my god, so Braddock is going to have to get some consolation killing the 9 o'clock expansion. Clearly not the goal. He wanted to drive into the natural or break the bottom left. This hatchery ain't no thang for Mondragon. He's got a lot of units now. If we take a look at his natural, a lot of Zerglings and Ultras sitting there, Defilers. Where did that queen go? That's what I'm interested in. Okay, the queen is hanging out at the bottom right. Looks like Mondragon wants to move in and break that, but there's a lot at the ramp. Braddock now moving in, doing a couple of radiates on the lurkers. Those get taken down very quickly. And here comes, oh god, the Hydra is picking off. Oh my god, so many vessels.
Oh,
another beefy
look
plague.
At that.
Good god. And irradiate and plague just goes together like Oreos and milk. You do not want to be feeling that unless you are Zerg.
Oh my god. Look at that army just get decimated. I don't even know if the Zerg units had to attack. I mean, like the irradiated Ultralisks touching the plague probably did all the damage that was needed. And Braddock trying to macro. I mean, he has beautiful macro. Look how low his money is. But Mondragon's just amazing tactics. Look at this push at the right side of the map at the 3 o'clock expansion. Just target firing that command center. The Queen's moving up north! Here comes the Queen. It's under hit points. Oh my god. Is he just going to kill the command center? Oh yeah, the command center
he leaves
it. Oh, it's the plague. And that way you can create the Zerg Reaver, which is an Ultralisk, or excuse me, it's an Overlord full of infested Terrans. And you just drop in your opponent's mineral lines, and the infested Terrans just blow up like scarabs, man. It's the Zerg Reaver.
So we see Mondragon took the natural, Brad Okay reinforcing from the natural there. Looks like he's gonna lose that command center at 3. He's really having trouble getting minerals now, struggling. Looks like his mineral only's still good. His main is mined out. His natural, of course, not mined out because of the problems he had earlier on. But Mondragon controls very strongly the entire left side of the map. Just drawing mines with a few Zerglings, very cute, running them in and just taking out the mines. And that lets the Ultras run in, which is the main deal here.
Yeah, look at this big push come up by Braddock, just returning to his base. Oh, Plague and Swarm pushing everything back, cutting these big groups of units in half, and look at Mondragon just darting right into here into Braddock's main. Looks like Braddock's going to be able to hold it off, and if we look down here at the bottom, looks like some more units are being... Oh, look at the mines! Going to self-destruct! Oh my god! Managed to take out a whole bunch of those Marines and everything else surrounding it. And I'm desperately trying to hold on to this bottom right area, because if he can get control of that high ground plateau, he's going to be in really good shape. More mines going down. I'm not even quite sure Mondragon realizes that there is in fact an expansion being morphed there. And Braddock at his natural expansions getting broke. His second mineral has about half mineral capacity there. Really needs to retake that right side of the map if he wants to have any hope of maintaining a lead. Excuse me, should I say gaining a lead?
Yeah, Braddock's APM has dropped now by 100. He's down at 220, so really feeling the pressure here, not reacting too well to it. He's still got SCVs mining from 3 o'clock. That's not what you want. He's doing a little vulture raid here, swinging around to 9 o'clock, just trying to kill some drones, do whatever he can do to get back in. But Mondragon is in total A-move mode here. Yeah, oh, look at the burrow. That's just the cutest little Zerg play I've ever seen. Vulture's gonna kill some with a scan, but still. And looks like Mondragon found that expansion at the bottom right. Braddock's days are numbered here unless he can pull off, you know, the most amazing Marine micro we've ever seen, which I think a computer could A-move and win at this point.
Yeah, it's gonna be real tough. I mean, Mondragon doing a beautiful job. Look, a maxed Zerg and Zerg vs. Terran. This is never something you want to be in. And look, I mean, the Queen at the bottom right just hunkering down on that command center. Just can't wait for it to drop another 49 hit points. I mean, Mondragon really using every single thing that Zerg has available. Not just Defilers and Lurkers and Ultras and upgrades and expanding, but also the Queens, the Burrow, you know. Doing everything that he can, doing tons of these little runaround tactics. I wouldn't be surprised if we started to see some drops at this stage by Mondragon, just to sort of chew away at those all those supply depots at the north side.
Right, and this is why you need so many barracks in Andromeda, because of this situation. If you go to move out, Zerg is just going to counter with their entire army, and unless you basically have 2 big enough armies that you can deal with both sides, you're going to be in a lot of trouble, and this is what we see happening here. Braddock's natural is already mined out. He's doing really well to defend this, coming back. I heard another play going off in the science vessel. They were already at 1, so that's just adding insult to injury. So Brad's going to defend this pretty well. But, I mean, Mondragon can afford to lose it. We can see he's now aiming his gun of Ultra Ling wherever he wants. It looks like it's going to the bottom right now. It can also go to 3 o'clock. Braddock just not going to be able to handle all these attacks.
Yeah, 82 food for Braddock, 179 for Mondragon. At this stage, Mondragon doesn't even need to get Defilers anymore. You can just attack move with Ultra Ling until he's worn his opponent down. Braddock trying to take that right expansion. Look, it just finishes. And look at this big attack moving forward. That mine almost took out that Defiler. Oh, there it goes. Wow, well, a little bit weaker, but fortunately there's still a Defiler there. Look at the beautiful Dark Swarm, and one more Dark Swarm coming up right here. Bam. That command center is gonna go down, and Mondragon is already expanding to the bottom right side of the map. It's just impossible at this point in time for Braddock to win this game. But one thing that I will note, even though Mondragon is dominating right now, and I'm certain we're gonna see GG at any moment, notice how Mondragon has had like over 3,500 minerals for the last, I don't know, not 20 minutes of the game, the last 15, 16 minutes of the game. It's been way more money than you know would have expected, which is telling of 2 things. One, Mondragon's macro might not be as strong as it needs to be for some of these a little bit more standard maps like Fighting Spirit. You know, maps like, unlike this one where you'll have the extra money. You know, on those standard maps, really standard play, and there's the good game. Braddock down 0-1 to Mondragon. But on those really standard maps, it's a little bit harder to get away with not quite having that super, super strong macro. But at the same time, it demonstrates that Mondragon is able to have these decisive wins with 5,000 in the bank. And I think that that was a pretty clear victory for Mondragon there.
Right, the entire game I was just begging him to, throw down 10 more hatcheries and rally Zerglings, and even looking through his main, we see his macro wasn't that good, so not only was it a problem of not having enough producing buildings, he wasn't producing out of the buildings he had efficiently enough. He often had three eggs and even 3 larvae at the majority of his hatcheries, so not what we want to see out of a macroing Zerg, but as you said, we can spin it the other way and see how he played mechanically poor in the sense of creating units, but he still won very decidedly. So, I mean, if he does get it together and start macroing, oh wow, that's going to be scary as hell.
Yeah, absolutely. And coming up for the second map is Neo Tornado. It's I don't know if I would necessarily call it standard. Probably standard-ish. I mean, it has the usual sort of 4 bases, it has the usual natural. Zerg players are going to be going for the main. What's weird, though, is the fact that it's so easy to get that 3rd gas that's right next to you, but it only has 2,500 gas, and it makes taking a 4th gas really, really hard. It's generally difficult to get other gas geysers that aren't in your natural area. And those high ground pods are super weird. Those little spots right outside your base that make for all these sorts of weird counterattacking and circular movement on the map.
Right, and as you said, standard-ish. Typically, when we see standard play in ZVT, it's you 3-hatch in your main and your natural, and then you take another main and defend the ramp. But the easy 3rd gas is kind of so tempting in this that could dictate the play a lot. I gotta think we're gonna see pretty standard play, but with Mondragon, it could be a lurker opening. We've actually seen Mondragon release a replay of him playing Sea Shield and opening lurkers and winning a very crazy game. So this guy can get it done with Mutalisk and lurkers. Very strong player. Let's not delay it anymore. Let's see what happens in game 2.